What's up, guys? It's Greg, Chris, and Slinky here. We are, first and foremost, you notice we're minus a couple of members tonight. I want you to understand everybody's healthy, everybody's fine. They are Angie and Jay are in a little bit different higher risk situation. They're not sick or anything, but we are kind of in the public for, say, as somewhat necessity. I know I'm a necessity. Just going to put that out there. No comments from either side of the cheering section. Yeah. But we want to keep connecting with you guys, and we're going to have fun here. We're not trying to be all formal or anything, but we are going to, I was talking about on the live stream, we are going to do a little bit of talking about how we write and what we write and how the process works. And let me say this kind of off the bat. All 5 members work together to write the music. We don't really, once in a great while, one person will have a song mostly complete, but we have this theme kind of our theme is great songs aren't written, they're rewritten. And sometimes they're rewritten after they're rewritten.
No, mine don't get much good.
Well, then
I start pretty well.
Then there's people who are really full of shit. But it's okay. We're good. I want you to understand, if you have any questions or anything you want to send us, please feel free to send it. There's nothing that you can't ask us. If you have requests, if you have something that you want to talk about or want to talk to one of us about or specific, we are working on some other things to connect with you as far as question and answer stuff that's been discussed in the McCuin camp. But we want to let you guys, everybody to know that all of us, we are healthy as far as we know, and everybody's doing good. So the pollen season is kicking in. Don't look at somebody and if they sneeze and go, it could be the pollen, really. But we do want you to continue to take care of yourselves and take care of each other. With that said, we are going to just kind of start off this whole thing here with just talking about how the songs, how it works. And usually how it starts, these two guys spend some time together just playing their guitars, and not like in a cool way, but they spend some time, they play guitars, they have ideas, and then they end up, I know you're staring.
We're going to get a turn.
I know.
Yeah, okay.
I know. Yep. But they just come up with some kind of idea, and then sometimes they're waiting on, I'm never late for rehearsal, ever. Sometimes. But they have songs written. We get there sometimes and I'll pull up and all I can hear is guitar. And come in and it'll be, hey, guess what? You just wrote that song.
How you're pulling up hearing guitar?
Because you guys are early.
Well, you're going to hear guitar, dude. We're not a kazoo band. I mean, it works out well that we have these things, and we usually have really big ass amps.
But you guys took my kazoo, or we could be kazoo.
You're right, we did, and you are never, ever, ever getting it back. Because the only thing I can think of is the pig hanging out the window on that commercial with the little twirly fan going, wee, 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 wee.
Well, for the record, we are not a paid partnership with that commercial.
No, we're not.
No, I don't even know what that is. But
it's Geico.
Geico, send us your money.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we'll send you a bill.
Yeah, well,
We need to be insured.
There's that. Yeah. So we decided amongst ourselves on how we kind of wanted to do this, and it's going to be kind of a 3-part thing. It worked out really well because there's 9 songs on the album, and on this album. And so since we can math and stuff, we decided to do 3 threes. And we just, that's why. So we decided to go with the first 3, which are probably the oldest 3 of those songs. And when I say old, that's kind of a misnomer, especially because we've only been playing together, 2.5 years?
Yeah.
In this lineup?
Yeah.
Me and this guy, a lot longer than that. But in this lineup, in the current configuration, about 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And
then they at me. Me to do stuff.
We did. We made him move and everything. I mean, it was really shitty, but that's kind of the way we are. Anyway, so we decided on the first 3 songs that we're going to talk about. The first one we're going to talk about is Monster. The Monster. I always call it Monster, but it's The Monster. And the reason I chose that one, or was absolutely in favor of that one, I didn't choose it, we talked about it, but the reason I was absolutely in favor of that one is because that's the first song that all of us collaborated and wrote together in this lineup, was The Monster. That was the very, very first one. And that was Dale lived probably a quarter mile down the road from me, and he spent a lot of time in his music room over there writing and throwing riffs back and forth. And,
Making neighbors mad.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, neighbors, you know,
That's the best part.
people.
There's
yeah.
some here. I think.
Yeah, there are. That's what I think it over.
If the cops come in, if the cops show up, you can't come in
No.
Why?
because no social distancing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Somebody make
No
a.
cops.
Okay.
Unless
Anyway.
they got a warrant.
It better be signed by the press. Don't get me started. Let's go.
I-
No, because wait, as long as there's 9 people in here, if a cop comes in, that's 10. He broke the law.
Ooh. See, now Greg's with the big brain on Greg.
We got a piece of paper or
No,
pen or something.
we don't.
I'm just. Well, look, we're not
So-
trying. That's how we deal with it. We're not trying to make light of the serious.
So, I'll go ahead and get out of the way and let Dale talk about it, because I want to say that as this one kind of started to take shape, Dale's kind of the one that threw this riff out there for us to start working on. So, my brother, if you will.
Well, I mean, we all kind of did the
We did, but
the verse parts. I mean, I at first I had the little, you know, the little clean part that we come up with that part.
yeah.
There's a little intro, and then we all kind of worked on the.
I will say that I did do the skip part. And the reason I remember doing that is because I had just been listening to Iron Maiden, The Trooper, and I absolutely love Old Maiden, and I love the gallop sound on a guitar. I think it sounds really badass and cool. Yes, that also tells you how old I am. Don't care. Anyway, that's kind of how that started. We kind of put the gallop in there, and this was this was like a week and a half process to get it. I mean, to even get the basic framework for this song, because we kept changing stuff.
we rewrote.
Harmony stuff.
Yeah, harmonies.
Because we kind of looked at each other and go, that'd be kind of cool. Since there's like 2 of us and stuff, and we got guitars and stuff, and let's just do harmony stuff. And we're like, okay. So that's kind of how that started working out. And
There's also, I mean, this is kind of where we started doing the harmony lines below the, you know, the little melodic pieces that we pretty much have in every one of our songs.
Dale is the melody hook guy. Dale will shut up and let me talk. Dale will listen to a riff, however basic the framework is, and he, for some reason, has a knack for coming up with melodies and harmony parts and putting the melody lines in the parts that we're writing, even the stuff that we're writing right now, which, by the way, there's a few that are kind of in the hopper right now that we're working on. 3 or 4 that are already framed out, and we've been playing them together a little bit as a band, kind of changing things and getting our map and so forth and so on. But
And it is heavier.
yeah, it's heavier. McCuin seems to be doing a progression, and a lot of it has to do with that guy and Jay.
It's really weird because, I mean, I've said it before, you've got an 80s guitar player, you got an old thrash metal guitar player, you got a Southern Baptist singer, you got a
I accept that.
yeah,
You're welcome.
Yeah.
you know, you got a gospel singer,
I accept that.
you got a country drummer, and you got a classic rock bass player.
Yeah, and
So it's
Somehow there's this miracle in the middle that makes it work somehow. So.
yeah, they call me Slinky.
Oh.
nice talking to you. Love you.
What did do in the middle?
Well, on some, not often.
So
Thanks
that
for
just,
volunteering, bro.
that just made him the pivot man, boys and girls. You heard that here first. Anyway, you're welcome, brother. I love you. You know I do.
Oh, by the way, I quit.
Yeah.
No, we have to reshoot this
Yeah.
again.
Again, right. Send in the next guy. Anyway, so that's kind of how things
Start
on this
over.
one kind of took place.
Line.
Yeah. Please hold up the cue cards. I can't read them from there. I don't wear these because I can see. I mean, you know, it's one of those things.
But yeah, this one, and this one kind of started the whole album rolling. The whole album, in my opinion, is a lot about duality. The good, the bad, the worse, the good, the better. I mean, there's always duality in every song.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you think about the lyrics, and Jay had a whole lot of whole lot of just lyric ideas that came in. Jay's a lot more of an aggressive singer than I am when it comes to being there and get. So we didn't know how this was going to work or if it was going to work. And I remember the first night in rehearsal when we were doing that song and trying to get it to work, and it wasn't a talent thing on my part. It was I got lucky and hit it just right, and it just happened. And Jay was kind of helping me with it. And then all of a sudden, it just came together. And I remember going outside afterwards when it was all said and done, and Chris kind of if you hadn't known Chris very long, you always think he's mad.
If you haven't known him, you know he is.
And if you really, really know him, you don't care.
That's a secret.
But,
He's always
doing like
that's
you don't
my
like
secret.
him.
I'm always angry.
You don't like him. He's green, bro.
Yeah.
But
Ivory Hulk.
Yeah.
Touche, brother. Touche.
But he comes outside and he's looking at me and he does that. I like what you did in there. And so you have this moment that went, okay, well, inside I'm thinking, yay, I'm not going to die. And then you have this other thought that says, well, this actually might work. I had no idea how this was going to work. When they brought this song and Jay's pounding this song, and I thought, golly, it's like, how am I even going to do that? And that's when something just happened. I can't, there's not one moment like you say, how do you know when things worked? How do you know when how did you know when you were going to be able to all collaborate and all and I've been asked those questions, and it's not that you just know, it's not there's one defining moment, but if I had to pinpoint it, I thought, maybe this is going to work, maybe we can do this.
So let's back up even a little bit further than that. We hadn't played together in what, 8-9 years?
7, I think, 6 or 7. Yeah, well, it was 20.
That's
it was
why
2000.
you don't get the math a lot.
It was 2011, 2012 when
Use your fingers.
Yeah.
It was
he's got his shoes on,
2012,
brother. It's
so
all
it
right.
was 15, 16, 4, between 4 and 5.
Okay, it was
Yeah.
like 8 or 9 years actually.
Mhm.
Because he's still. Yeah. You weren't supposed to tell anybody you had pictures.
Those kind of pictures.
Yeah, that's
Not the bus pictures.
Anyway, so out of the blue, I get a call from McCuin, and I had moved out of the area, and I was actually down at Hope, living in Hope, and we'd been talking a little bit on and off. We kind of kept in touch, and so forth and so on, but that was about the limit of it. And he happened to call me out of the blue, probably, I don't remember if it's the same day or the next day, when I decided to move back towards Kirby Glenwood area. Because when I got to Arkansas 16 years ago, this is where I moved, in this area. So, I mean, this is, I guess, for all intent and purposes, this is my home in Arkansas. But
The home the sequel.
yeah, there you go. So we start talking about it, and he goes, I really want to put the band back together. And I said, okay, cool. Who the hell are we going to get to play with? So we talked to some individuals. We knew some of the former members that was going to be, that their people have their different personalities. They move on and do different things, and some had moved on to doing other projects and were really vested in the projects they were working on. So that was kind of okay. Well, they're busy with that. That's cool. So Jay was actually the first one that Greg and I contacted, and Jay is a phenomenal bass player. He's a good guitarist too, actually. He's phenomenal.
Good. He's musician.
Yeah, he's been doing it a long time.
Incredible songwriter.
He has always been a metalhead, but he, around here, both kinds of music, country and western, seem to pay the bills around here, because that's what the majority of the demographic likes in this particular area. So he'd been playing that for a long time, and he's good at it. He's so good at it that he can play it, sing it, and not even think about it. And he's been playing a lot of the same songs for 20-25 years, so it kind of takes all the guesswork out of it for him. Anyway, and he'd been dying to play metal, because that's what he really loves deep and down in his heart. He'll be the one to tell you, and ask him, he will tell you. He has always been a metal guy. So now there's both of us, besides Greg, of course. And
No, I really, at that point in time, I didn't, because I'd run out of resources.
Yeah.
And I had to come to Chris and say, look, brother.
Let's start making calls. And so Jay goes, well, let's call Dale. I'm like, Dale who? Seriously. And
Wow.
Yeah.
They didn't mean that like it's right.
I quit!
Yeah.
This is back, bro.
And I mean, okay, so here's a funny story. And I tell Jay, I said the same Dale, and I knew it was the same one, but I messed with Jay. I said the same Dale that you said, hey, grab a guitar and your little lamp, and we're gonna go by Dale's band practice, and he wants you to hook up and play for a little while. So I do, and Jay and I drive to Nashville, which is where they were playing, and we kind of invade their practice studio, and so I hook up, and Jay jumps on bass, and I'm playing with Dale, and the fucking bastard shredded my ass, then made me pack my shit and leave.
No.
So we get back in the car, and he's going to tell you a different version of the story. He's so full of shit.
I'll tell you the true version.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, so we get back in the car, and Jay goes, I told you he was good. I was like, thank you, bro. You brought me down here 45 minutes so I can get my head cut, and I get to go home and practice, because now that's what I really want to do. So I guess before we jump off subject, I guess I'll let you tell your bullshit
The
version.
real
of the
story is, he and Jay came over. He strapped up. I was already strapped up. We played a few songs, and I went home and cried like a baby.
He's lying.
He cut my head. I didn't even want to play anymore.
He's so full of shit. Anyway, so
Chris calls me and says, there's this guy.
there's this guy, and he's good, and I know he's good because I went to his rehearsal. He spanked my ass and sent me home.
I don't remember any of that, but he just said he's good.
I did. I
That-
do,
We
because
weren't going to discuss that.
it's
tomorrow.
scarred.
It sounds like a personal thing.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a
Okay.
sexual thing.
Yeah, I'm
You're right.
out.
And it was Jay's idea to call Dale. Okay, so we called Dale. Well, Dale lives in Horatio at the time. So that's an hour one way for him to come to her. Yeah, dude, I've been there. I'm not really sure what that's about.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Shit.
Love you. Anyway, so Dale says, yeah, let's see what we can do. So we start hanging out and start playing, start getting a feel for how each other plays, and I found another lead guitar player that can beat or exceed me anytime he decides he wants to. And really what it does is it takes a lot of the pressure off of me. And I'm overly critical when I get on stage. I'm overly critical when I'm prepping for a show. I'm overly critical in the band room. I'm basically overly critical all the way around, because I don't like getting up in front of people and sounding like hammered ass. And there are bands out there that get up in front of people and sound like hammered ass, and it's bad enough that I'm embarrassed for them, but that's not something we're gonna do. And Greg and I talked about it, and I said, we will not be out playing anywhere until I tell you the music is ready. And it progressed from there.
Oh, another fun fact, my amp's not even on when we're playing live shows, so
You're
I
so
just
full
get
of
up
shit.
there.
Yeah,
I
and
just
he
wanted to
stepped
know
the
that.
buttons the pedal he's stepping on, that's for clap tracks, just so you
Yeah.
know. So you hear clap tracks.
I didn't know you had to clap. Why didn't you tell me that?
So that's kind of how all of this kind of got back together. Angie we pulled up in her driveway and handed her a CD and said, here, learn these songs, you're in the band. And she was like,
Pretty much what happened.
that, no, really, that's
She
what
just
we
showed
did.
up and killed it.
Yeah, so she had come over to check it out, and our drummer at the time, good kid, good drummer,
Great kid, yeah.
really, really, really talented guy. He was running late, lived in Texarkana, had a hell of a drive, and out in the middle of the country, to over here. And he was running late, so we were ready to get started, and so Angie jumped behind the kit and started playing for us, and we got to talking about it, and it was unrealistic for us to expect him to be able to do that, especially when the amount of work that we needed to put in to be able to be stage ready.
Yeah, they made me move.
Yeah, we did. We moved Dale from Horatio. It wasn't realistic for him to be able to do that. So I mean, he's a great drummer, great person. It just, because of geographic distance,
It was difficult on him. It's not anything like that. Nothing really went south sour. I mean, it was just a distance thing, and that was a lot to put on him too. But I don't, and nothing against anybody. it's you sit down with people and there's this chemistry.
It works or it doesn't.
It does or it does. It's not about personality. It's not personal. It's not whether I like you or not. Because believe it or not, if you didn't know us at all, you would think we absolutely, realistically hated each other. Not just pretended to, but really did. Well, I guess
Wait.
I was talking
We
about.
don't hate each other?
I was talking about Chris.
It makes the mute.
But remember that one time you touched me inappropriately and
I didn't know you did that to him.
no, I was talking to you.
You did it too.
Okay.
I've been wanting to play guitar. I've been wanting to play music. I've been wanting to write songs with J. Ray White for a decade at least. And Jay had stuff going on in other bands, and like Chris was saying, you know, he was doing some country stuff and some southern rock stuff, which is cool. I grew up in all that too, and we never really crossed paths in a way that we could get together and write. So when Monster happened, and it's such a great monumental song to pick for Chris to say, hey, let's start with Monster, and Slinky say, yeah, let's do that, because I tend to have my short-term memory sometimes. I get so wrapped up in a lyric, I get so wrapped up in a vocal, and after we get done in there's probably somebody out there that can tell you the name of the disorder or narrow it down.
Asperger's.
I love burgers, bro.
Made out of ass. Anyway. Not to belittle anybody who
So
actually
what I was
has
saying,
that.
I mean, but it just
Did you really
one of
want to
those.
turn it back on?
What is- Not again.
What happened last time?
You just have to figure out that it just works, and when it works, and no matter what, it's business. And we're in this. We don't have a plan. You don't have a plan B in this business. If you have a plan B, plan A will never work. And so there's that old saying, and I've been saying this a lot. If you're gonna take the island, the best way to take the island is to burn the boats. If the Vikings wanted to take the island, they burned the boats because they had no intention of if they were going to take it, they didn't have to go back. Go back. There's no second plan. So that's kind of how we just headlong into this thing. But it took Monster, I think, to get us there. I really think it did. I mean, I think it took the song Monster for us to go, oh my gosh, this is something this is a place we've never been before.
It
And
just
yeah.
came together quick. I
It
mean,
did, it worked.
It worked.
And it took me out of my box, took me out of my comfort zone. And all of a sudden, I'm like, and of course they busted my bubble a little bit because I was, man, I've got some range. I can hit this a little bit. And Chris is like, dude, we're tuned. They're tuned at they tuned down. And my brother always makes this joke because we went into the studio one time. And,
Go, dude, go. Yeah,
one
you're
of them
doing
was like,
so good.
One of them was like, do you want us to tune flat so your voice will be in key? I was like, dude, all of you can kiss my ass. That's what all of you can do, man. But that's another thing. They have this ability to read me, and I can figure out what's going on with them a lot of times while we're working and trying to play off this melody. And he's right. Chris will hit some stuff, and it'll be chunk, and it'll be good, and it'll be thick. It just sounds really good. And now I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with it? And I'll look at Jay, and Jay's like, it's your turn, bro, whatever. I'm like, come on, help me, Jay, help me write. I don't write all the lyrics.
And then Dale will go, hey, play that again for like 19 minutes.
And then, yeah, that's right.
In a row. Because I'm working on something, I got something in my hand.
And I won't have
out.
to say a word. I'll just sit over in the corner, and I'll
he'll build a
listen, and
melody.
he'll have a melody, and then I'll just hear this, there's that one hook, and then we start trying to put the song together. And that, and Jay, and they're starting with this, dun, 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 and so Jay hits, when he starts with that, melt it down, load it up, and shoot it in your vein, I was going, whoa. And I watch these top 10 lists sometimes on YouTube because there's one that says, I'm not going anywhere weird with this, there's one that says, some of the greatest first lines in songs, top 10 greatest first lines in songs. And that line sets the premise and the precedence for that song. Melt it down, load it up, and shoot it in your vein. Okay, so we're going, whoa. I'm instantly, I know this is going either really, really bad or this is going to come out really, really good. And that's kind of what they were just talking about.
And that's where it gets back to the duality.
Yeah,
between
because
the two vocals. Because Jay has a really kind of a gruff voice in a lot of it, and you're like a songbird.
Yeah, but he's got this, But when he hits, it's I don't know. It just and him.
It's forceful.
Him lining that vocal with me and hitting, that melt it down, load it up, and shoot it in your vein. You're hooked automatically. And then that chorus, man, it says everything. So.
Everything except the part that we actually cut out of the studio version.
Well, I don't. The studio version.
Oh
God, no!
Roll loud.
I have no idea what they do when I'm not. They don't let me in there. They don't let me play. I don't get the.
There's too many things that I can plug into Greg's voice to. You guys, you know what? One of these days, I need to release just a YouTube video of the ridiculously heinous shit I have done with Greg's voice, and when he's not there, because I have the computer. And
hey, that's how it works. They will call me and they'll say, "Okay, we need you to come in and do vocals." I'm like, "Sweet, it's been 2 weeks." Come in, do vocal, and
then on the converse of that, when it's time for Dale and I to do leads, we tell everybody, stay at home.
Yeah.
Don't fucking show up at the studio. We don't want you there.
And they're there almost every day, every other day, pounding this stuff out. And then when I'll come in, and then I'll go. I have no idea what they do to me when I'm gone. Okay, or asleep. Wait.
You smell very different when you're asleep, just so you know. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah. Did you see her?
I need some skills.
All right, so that's pretty much Monster. Greg and Jay are, and Jay's had some help from his sister and stuff like that. And Jay writes about a lot of really personal stuff.
He does.
He writes about
He's a good storyteller.
He is, and he writes about a lot of very near and dear stuff to his heart. We'll, in one of the future episodes of this, we'll explain to you why I'm really not allowed to write lyrics anymore, because
I'll take that.
Yeah,
I'll take that one.
Yeah, I'm sure you will, because there is one song that's on the album that I'm not going to mention. Fucker. That I kind of got inspired to write lyrics for, and it's kind of dark, and I know that shocks a lot of people, but it's kind of dark. I really got to tell you the story behind this because it's awesome, but that's not for this issue. That's for the next one. So let's move on and talk about Bridges.
Oh, Bridges. Oh God.
That was the second one we actually worked together on.
Bridges is the first song that we actually released off the new album to let people listen to.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't let anybody hear Monster. We didn't let anybody hear any of the rest of them. Bridges was kind of the first one that everybody got to hear.
And it was different too, because we weren't really starting from scratch on that one, because you'd had that riff. I mean, no, we just kind of.
He had that riff like 45 years.
Oh, kiss my ass. But really and truthfully, I had that. That is something that a guy by the name of Darren Cook and I played years ago. And the song is the only thing that's not been stripped out of that song is that's the rhythm line or the melody line going underneath during the choruses. And that's the only thing that really got used. The song was in a way different place because it's one of those songs that I learned 25, almost 30 years ago, and I never forgot it, which says a lot about the song. I just really, really liked it. And I never, even years of not playing, I still remember the song. And so when we started this project, I'm not going to say any names, but on the last album, I played this for the guys, and I got that, no, we hate that fucking sound.
Oh, we said it this time too, but we just did it behind your back.
Yeah, that's good.
You're big.
Everybody could fit back there at once. Wait, that went south.
I ain't telling that big fucker nothing. You do it.
But the song is completely different than it was 25 years ago. I hate both you motherfuckers. Anyway, so, my 18-year-old daughter is probably going to watch this because I am going to send her a link and go, hey, honey, this this is why you have the mental deficiencies that you happen to have. It's because my part of the genetic line isn't helping.
I think she's smart enough to figure that out.
She is.
Yeah.
She's very intelligent.
Yeah. I think she got that.
She did. Thank
But
goodness.
this song kind of pushed the songwriting to a little bit different too. I mean, we were doing kind of a different style in a lot of it. We were doing like a little clean arpeggios.
Yeah, and I was in no mood to write a song. I didn't care. But at the time, I thought we were trying to put together some older stuff and try. And hang on, it was just my laziness at the time. That's all it was.
What?
Yeah, shut up. And then Chris didn't need any help from you. So see, it was I did something right again. But see what I did there? It was, come on, guys. Don't make fun of people. But
We're not. We're making fun of you.
they're playing this riff and I didn't know what to say and all this and I was mad and all of a sudden I hit that fire burn. Okay, Chris is like, why? Where'd that come from? And I go, bro, do you realize how hot it is in this warehouse that we're playing in? We're in the middle of summer. It's actually it was in a shop. Okay, it was in Nashville.
Yeah.
Nashville.
It was hotter than Satan's taint
It was
in that
no,
shop. I'm
the
just
devil
saying.
won't even go in there.
No.
So really, tank.
Yeah.
It tanked hell, but it's hot. All right, but here's the problem. They went, so that's all I could think of. It was like, God, it's
Beach
hot.
Inferno.
I'm glad you didn't come up with the words something about preparation H.
Oh well.
Because
Give me a minute.
He
yeah,
just
you're
named the
wrong.
next record, man.
Yeah.
No. Gucci.
Yeah. So
Next
anyway,
Yeah, the next album's gonna have something with gooch in it. So.
But it happened that way. One day, and I
I
had some halfway kind of
Gucci-palooza.
half-written
Yeah.
lyrics, whatever. And Jay's looking. Jay comes over to me, and Jay's real. I don't want to ruffle the waters. Jay comes over, and Jay's like, "What are you saying there, man?" And I was like, "Here." That's all I thought. I was like, "Here, then you take. Can I take it? You take." He came back, had a whole other verse and a bridge. I finished another verse, and then we had the chorus, and we had it. It was just like that. We had it, and they actually had to do a couple of. Did you guys not have to do a couple of musical alterations?
Yeah, we had to. We had to recompose
to fit some of the lyrics, because the lyrics were good, and the concept of the song really worked. At the time, I was going through some relationship changes in my life to try to distance myself for some asshats that I didn't want to be around anymore, and I can't stand judgmental people. Whatever.
Those are your kids, man.
Oh. Why you gotta front me out like that?
yeah. Brooklyn
You're
K.
their
Clark.
father.
Yeah.
All 12 of them.
Well, yeah.
So there's
Anyway.
we have an orphanage at the house.
Uh,
Yeah. But wait, I'm gonna owe child support.
Thank
The
you.
problem
Somebody
is-
didn't blame this time.
The problem is, it just, and then so where do you go from there? And I didn't know, I didn't know what to do. So I thought, well, here's this concept of fire burn, and even in the studio, because Chris was doing backups, and he was going fire burns, and I was like, dude, quit saying burns. And he goes, and he got in my business, and he goes, look, man, well, I'm the one with the vocabulary excellence here to say that the pronunciation of just fire burn is wrong. And I'm like, no, let me explain the chorus to you. And then he goes,
Oh, okay.
oh,
Yeah, because what it
okay.
sounded like was, ugh, fire burn.
Fire hot.
Fire.
no, it's not the caveman song.
Make gooch tingle.
Don't touch
Man,
that hot
See why I
fire
don't
burn.
see what I do.
Make gooch tingle.
They actually had me bungeed back here to the. I can't leave.
He's like, there.
What was the guy on? No. What was the guy on Saturday Night Live? He would have sooner caveman lawyer.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. So that's what it didn't make any sense because of course I hadn't read the lyrics. So I could
Thank
most
you.
of the time I could honestly, and this sounds really bad, but even when I listen to music now, if I don't like the instrumentation in the music, I give a shit what the lyrics are. I don't care. It doesn't matter who puts it out, doesn't matter what famous, wonderful band or not so famous, wonderful band or whatever puts out a song. If I don't like the music, then I give a shit what they're saying in the vocals. I don't care. The music is what hooks me. So if I like the actual instrumentation, the music, then it starts making a little bit of difference. But Fire Burn zzz, made more sense to me at the time. And honest to God, okay, in spite of what you might think, Greg is not one for overtly enunciating properly.
What you talking about?
Yeah, right. So I actually didn't know he wasn't saying Burns, just because he puts so much of that funk on the end of the shit that he says sometimes that I can't follow it.
Have you ever heard a sound check? That's them making fun of what I do in the studio. It's just you can't do it here. You have to come to a show and check it out.
Yeah,
It's
and
not
you
worth
will,
it.
because
You
every
come to
time
a
I
check.
mic check, I am sassing the shit out of that guy,
Yeah.
because
Well, I don't wanna be
I
up there.
forget that I know the language. I forget that I have any source of proper enunciation.
Why you gotta make fun of the Irish, bro?
I am Irish. I am not making fun of the
Hey,
Irish.
you know, you
Don't
always have.
no. Don't make fun of my people, damn it, and bullshit.
That's
Hey,
not
this is right.
Irish.
Yeah, I know. Anyway,
Racist.
so I'm not racist.
Don't be
I
a
do-
rapist.
That's nasty.
Continue.
Yeah.
I know it is a nasty thing.
Yeah, it is.
But
Anyway, so I actually thought he was saying fire burdens until Jay goes, "Hey man,
Jay every time.
come here, bro. I gotta talk to you." Because he won't tell me. Because after all these years, he was just kind of finally happy that I was even willing to stand in front of a microphone, let alone actually sing anything. I mean, okay, you gotta take it baby steps. Okay, you can put it there. Now, don't turn the son of a bitch on. But you can put it there. Okay, now you can turn it on, but I'm gonna stand way back here because you're not hearing shit that I'm gonna say. To now I'm singing backups on stage with him, which...
you should have been doing the whole time. Look, the two biggest shows we did, two of the biggest shows we did, not the two biggest. Like with Warren, when we went over there, we were covering this Aerosmith tune. I don't remember which one it is. And my mic is so
Sweet
it's
Emotion.
so hot. It's Sweet Emotion.
Yeah.
And I can hear him. I'm singing Sweet Emotion, and I can hear him, and I'm like, he's actually singing that. So I kind of ease over toward him as the song goes on, and as soon as he rips off on that thing, I just put the mic over right to him. So here we are on this big stage and all that. And
Yeah, then it was a little late now. It's not like I can go, "Hup!"
he couldn't. No, he couldn't. It was more like a sweet.
Yeah.
Like somebody turned the volume down.
Exactly.
And then it went on, and I think I did it again at the Jackal show, and I think we ended up. And so it got to where we were doing that song. He'd move away from, like he is now.
Yes.
But it went from that to, actually, I got a little aggravated at him when we were working on this record, because I'm like, come on, man, you could have been doing this for the, however many
I didn't
long
want
years
to.
I've known you. And he will still be in rehearsal, and he'll look at me, and I'll go, okay, this has got to stop. I mean, I'm thinking this. I'm like, this has got to stop, bro, because I don't know if you're looking at me because you don't like what I'm doing, or if you're looking at me because you're trying to figure out if I don't like what you're doing on the vocals. So, it's both. Thanks.
Little column A, little column B.
Dynamite drop in, bro.
And actually, okay, we'll clear the air about that right now. I'm usually looking at you in rehearsal to make sure that tonally, because not only am I having to learn to do vocals, but I'm also having to learn to do harmony. Okay? And a lot of vocalists I've heard over the years are not fantastic at doing harmony, but they're wonderful at singing lead, which is something you guys will probably never,
pretty
ever get to hear me do. I'm not saying it won't happen, I'm just saying chances are, no. Anyway, fuck you guys. So I'm usually looking at Greg going, okay, I really can't tell if the shit that I'm bellowing out right now makes any sense to what you're bellowing out. So
I had to use a Chris Moran line. Bro, I'll tell you if it's bad.
I have said that, yes.
Yeah. So it's not been a problem since then, but it worked. It worked. And Jay kind of is the glue that brings it together. I had so many, some other songs that we had worked on, and some of the older stuff from other records that we play with here and there. I go back and listen to it, or one night Jay didn't feel good, or had sniffles or whatever, and just rested his voice because we had a show going on, and then I was just singing by myself in rehearsal, and it's so incredibly, it's so amazing to me how different it is and how much better it is having that. Not just backing vocals, but the right backing vocals.
And speaking of that, harmonies, backing vocals, Statue, that's the one that really, where the harmonies.
Statue raised the bar. I never thought in my life I was happy we were putting Statue back in the game, but I was never in my life did I think when I listened to that that's what would come out of it.
I think it's one of the few songs that's actually a true three-part harmony.
It is.
It is. It sounds great, and it's.
When did you guys originally? I mean, that was before my time. We just.
It was before my time.
2000. The year 2000 is when I wrote Statue.
God, you're old.
Yeah. I'm not.
I
You're
wasn't
older
even-
than me.
I wasn't even born yet.
You're such a liar. Not even a good one. No, it was
You just don't
2000.
let anybody know I'm underage after you tried to text me.
There's
That's all
that.
it is.
There was this. I was at my little brother's house. Derek, my other little brother. We were having some drinks and hanging out, and I actually wrote it on acoustic guitar. And it just happened. It just kind of happened that way. So Chris comes into the picture, and I'm like, I got this song, man, and I've been playing this song, and I've been trying to rework this song, and I said, I need this lead on this song. And we'll talk another time about how me and Chris how we ended up playing together. It wasn't McCuin first. We were working on this other piano project we were calling it Argyle Silver. And
Oh, tell him how. No. Tell him about the job interview for McCuin.
no, you know what? He did get punked twice.
Yeah,
almost.
fucking
well,
bastard.
not punked, but he did get the. No wonder that bothers him so much.
It does, because not only did I get
Didn't
punked
even
by you.
register.
No. Not only did I get punked by you, I mean, you're just this wee little fucker. And if I really got pissed off, you'd be 3 counties that way when you landed. But yet I'm still here. That scares. Aww. So go ahead and tell him.
If you're gonna make out, I'm leaving.
Yeah, no, we're not.
I'm not doing that.
Go ahead
again.
and tell him. Go ahead and tell him. Go ahead and tell him how this shit even started. Go ahead.
Yep. McCuin was going through a transition at the time.
Yes,
Posix was playing bass, and Posix was having some medical problems. His back was, I mean, it's no secret, his back was giving him fits. He was having to have surgeries and all this. I was trying to realign with some, to keep things moving. And here's this guy, Chris. Chris has been hanging around, coming out and jamming a little bit. And I never really heard him just tear loose, but I knew he was good. And then finally, I said, why don't you just come over one night and let's just jam for a little bit. And a guy named Pat Heaton was playing, and all props to Pat. He's a phenomenal guitar player.
He's good.
He was playing guitar for me at the time, or with me. I say for me. I don't mean like they worked for me. That's not what I mean. But he was the staple at the time. And I said, got this guy coming over, and he goes, okay, all right, well. And Pat's like, I'll go easy on him. I'm like, don't. It's because I want to bring him in. I want to bring him into McCuin. He goes, really? Like, don't go. I said, no. I'd rip him to shreds if you can. Chris comes up and he's like, so, what's up, man? And I think in Chris's mentality, Chris is showing up going, I am going to go in there and I'm going to absolutely.
No, you're jumping ahead of the game, because
Well,
I had heard
skipping to the good part.
right. I had heard McCuin on stage with the old lineup, and
That's the part I was going to skip.
Pat, I owe you the most absolute ridiculously sincere apology, because I had no idea that Asshat here had basically put your blinders on and had almost crippled you as far as what he was allowing to go on in the songs, or what you guys were doing in those songs. Because when I got to Greg's house, aka Pearl Harbor, that day, when Pat Heaton cut loose, I went, son of a bitch, I am in way over my head.
And then he was mad at me. He should have been
Yeah,
mad
it was.
at Pat.
No,
Yeah.
I wasn't mad at Pat.
Because you intended to go in there and be like, Pat.
No. I didn't know Pat was going to be there. That's the Pearl Harbor part. So Greg and I are sitting there playing. And Greg is throwing the most oddball, goofy ass. No, I didn't know.
You didn't know?
I didn't know. Why do you think I was so shocked? I didn't know Pat was coming. And Greg was playing this ridiculous chording shit on the piano that anybody who plays along with a traditional piano, or a traditional keyboardist, and where the songs are based off of a piano as opposed to a guitar, knows that the chording, or the the basis or the genesis of a lot of piano songs are in a lot different keys than what they basically present on a guitar, just because of the differences in the mechanics of playing the instrument. So Greg's throwing these weird ass chords at me, and I'm looking at him like, man, I'm not even fucking playing these chords. I mean, I can, but this is some goofy shit. Some of this stuff I have to actually stop and go, oh, I gotta go here. Oh yeah, because we're playing in C sharp minor suspended seventh, so if I play this note, it's gonna sound like hammered shit. But if I go down, and I'm having to do this stuff instantaneously, and Greg's having a blast, and he's just playing away, just keep going, and about 10. And by the way, I had just got done playing a show, a kind of a get-together thing up in Norman, Arkansas, with some friends, and we were actually in a band at that point, and we were working on new material and stuff like that. So I'd already played a show that day. So I was warm, to say the least. So I get to Greg's, and we're goofing around. About 10, it's probably 15 minutes later into it, all of a sudden here comes Pat, comes walking in the door. And I look at Greg, and I look at Pat. I'm like, you son of a bitch. This is not us jamming like it was presented. This is a job interview. And it just got real. Okay? So, based on what I had heard Pat play on stage, I went, okay, if you really want me to do this. I don't think I'm God's gift to guitars by any stretch of the imagination. Ask Dale, because I think he kicks my ass constantly. I get tuned up if I start getting big-headed or cocky about anything. All I need to do is plug in next to that man. He will fucking tune me right back up, and I'll get my head right. But I'm thinking, okay, all I've seen Pat do is what Pat does on stage. And this should be interesting. So Pat straps up. And Greg lets Pat play like Pat can play. I'm glad I was sitting on a wooden chair because the pucker factor was high. Because as soon as he started rolling, I went. I'm watching him and I'm going, this fucking dude is amazing. And then I'm thinking, why is this asshole doing this to this great guitar player? What is he doing? And Pat's just, he's just going. So Greg starts playing stuff on the piano, and again, these weird ass keys. And he'll go, you. So I would start playing the lead. And then he would stop and go, or he wouldn't even stop. All right, Pat. And then Pat would take off, and he's just, it's like fucking Cuisinart over there. He's just shredding his ass off. And then back to me, and then back and forth to Pat, and back and forth and on. So that goes on for about 10 minutes straight. And by that time, I'm going, geez, fuck. I already played a show today, and now I'm tired, and I just got Pearl Harbored like nobody's business. I had no idea Pat was that good, because he is that good. And I went, hey, I'm going to go smoke a cigarette. So I walk outside. Continue.
That was it. Pat was just like, hey, he'll do. That's what he said, jokingly. He was jokingly. Pat's like, he'll do. I was like, no, man. I was like, we gotta have him. And he comes back in. He said, let's throw a statue at him. And I think that was the first ever time that Chris sat down and played statue. And Pat had this lead thing he was messing with. And the first guy that ever laid the lead on that song was named Jerry Foshi, and we lost him several years back. May he rest well. And but I wanted one section of that lead, kind of one or two notes of that lead left in as a tribute to him. And that's kind of one of the reasons that Pat was where he was at and trying to keep it simple and things like that. But I said, well, you guys let's just play the song and you guys just kind of take off and let's see what happens. But I want to keep that true melody factor that was in there to begin with, to pay honor to a fallen brother. And so they did. But and still to this day, Pat's moved on to other things, and still to this day, when they go into this lead section, I still hear that. It's just a 2 or 3 little note melody, but it's in there, and I can hear it every time I play that song. And that song means so much to me, but I couldn't believe how much it meant to, because we took it out of the set list, and because we were trying to evolve a little bit into some heavier and harder stuff. We took it out of the set list, and this is kind of where the vocal part ended up being a real thing because we had to do something to bring that song. Nothing that there was wrong at the song, but we had to bring the song up to the caliber of what we were wanting to present on this new record. Is kind of the way I looked at it.
Plus, it was 8 fucking minutes live.
It was long. It was long. And when we played it live, we could play it, like
The Freebird
It was the
version.
McCuin flavor.
in a Gonna DeVita song.
Right,
It
exactly.
was so. I didn't. Don't start. I didn't.
I might know that.
I probably. I don't know that there's any songs you don't know. It just
Well,
worked
there's a
out.
lot.
We shortened it. We rewrote it. We kind of not rewrote it, but we rearranged it a little bit. And then here come the harmonies and the everything. It just worked out the way it was supposed to work out. I know there are other versions of the song out there, but the version that's on Moment of Clarity record is when they kick in. We intentionally left the guitars out in the beginning. We intentionally just put the piano part and the drums and the bass. And of course, I'm gonna get flack for this, but I requested that. I grew up listening to I grew up in church, but I grew up listening to like Tori Amos and people like that who released records who they somehow carried these huge big sounds. See you guys, these huge big, it's the truth, whatever. And they had just piano, drums, and bass, and I was like, wow, I'd always wanted to. So we got to put that in there. I got to sneak that in there. But then the guitars kick in.
Yeah.
It's coming out now. And then the harmonies, everything just worked out. And I know there's so many more details. I could spend an hour just on that song and the things that people have said that song means to them. But I'm gonna leave it open-ended like that because I don't want to. I know what the song means to me. And the song means things to other people. I'm leaving it where it's at because I don't want to ruin what that song means to somebody else. So
It's a beautiful song. The three-way harmonies make it wonderful.
it brought it together. I mean,
And I remember telling Chris though after you got all the drum and the bass and the some of the vocals, I was like, this ain't gonna work. This gotta have some guitar. Oh, just a little bit. No, no, we gotta put heavier guitar.
And and years ago when we played it live, there actually was heavier guitar stuff in it. Not as heavy as it is, or a little, not as articulated as much as it is now. But there was guitar in there before that kind of a swell and the guitar and all the distortion and all the rest of that shit came in. And then, played through and I did a lead or Chad did a lead back in the day. And then it dropped back out and the piano finished it back off. Well, in the studio version now, and by the way, all of us really like the studio version.
I love
better.
the studio version.
It just took on a different life. It's kind of that one song that's a little bit different than everything else that we did on the album, and believe it or not, we've already written that one song that'll be a little bit different than everything else that's on the album. That on the next album, we've already got
Go ahead and
it.
get that out of the way.
Yeah, we got that done. So,
I love that song.
yeah, I do too. It's got a really good melody hook, and a few of you guys have got to hear us play it.
Oh yeah, we did play.
We played it at Drowning Pool. We played it at Drowning Pool.
No.
No.
Didn't we?
No, we
it was
played
Reverend
it
in January.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
Red
yeah,
Room in
yeah.
January. Yeah, it wasn't ready for Drowning Pool yet. We were still putting
And then
it
we
together.
played at the Ridgely Room in Fort Worth.
Yeah, we did. And so we've actually played it out live twice, but to my and there might be some video of it and stuff like that. But what you guys are hearing right now is a live version, and the studio version is
It will be different.
It'll be different, but it'll be
much
pretty much that. It'll be textured and
It's got to tighten up and
and-
involve a little bit.
yeah. I mean, all this stuff is still in process. Well, boys and girls.
Yeah, we've kept you for a while. And when we get to talking, we don't get a chance to explain things like this, and we're gonna keep.
And we get a lot of people asking us. We usually don't have time.
Yeah, people do ask. These are a lot of things we get asked a lot at live shows, and it's hard at when you have 6 or 8 people and want to have different conversations, and you don't want to ignore one person and talk to another. You want to hear what other people have to say. And this kind of forum is really good for us to be able to get things out and say that kind of stuff and answer some of the questions.
And we're not overtly philosophical about a lot of shit,
Usually not.
We're not going to sit up here and I just felt this nuance. Shut the
Well, there goes my whole spiel for part.
Exactly. Sorry.
Slinky brought me
damn
this
it.
puppy.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about being a musician. I quit playing for a lot of years, and I had to play a lot of catch up when I got back up
Oh,
to
me too,
wanting to
yeah.
do it again, but it never left. You know, that's the difference between somebody who's playing in a hobby band and somebody who is actually a professional musician on whatever level. It's in your soul or it's not, and I'll never put them down again. I mean, I may not ever, 20 years from now, I may not be standing on a stage somewhere, but I will never put my guitars down again. I can't do it. It's like a piece of me is missing when it's not there.
That's like this little, I'm not going to name names, but this little cat of ours got, theoretically speaking, got let out of the bag. We were playing in a venue and we sat down with a guy that's been, if I said his name, you would know exactly who he is. But it's not my position to tell you his name, it's his. But the point is he asked us a very important question. We've been playing music, all of us collectively, sitting at that table, listening to this man ask us questions, have been playing music for many, many, many years, okay, decades. And he asked us a very simple question. Why are you doing this? Very simple question. Why are you doing this? Every single one of us answered it wrong. And he reminded us one major thing. And the true answer to that question is, why do you do this? Why do you play music? Because we have to.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have to. And if he quits, I can't quit. If he quits, I can't. It's not that I want to or don't want to or want to. I can't. If I'm not playing music, I am miserable. And I'm hard to live with. I'm hard to deal with. I don't want to be around people. I don't want to be here or there. And some of the people I love the most, I can't even be in the same room with because I'm miserable. And it's not their fault. It's just something I have to do. It was something that was instilled in me. I feel like at birth or in the womb or however you want to deal with it or however you believe.
You said womb.
He knew you before he formed you in the womb. You want me to go from there?
No.
Okay, then shut up. So here's the
I
thing.
didn't say anything.
But you're helping him.
Yeah.
So it's that thing. And it took us. We've been playing here decades, and it just there it was, and we knew that, but we didn't know that.
So in closing, Slinky, take us out, because you know what, Greg and I get to fucking rambling on, and it's another 30 minutes.
It's your game.
My game?
You scheduled this, right?
Oh, no.
Who scheduled this? Ed didn't schedule this?
No.
No.
What are we doing
I
here?
think the only reason I got to pick because it's my house.
Oh yeah, we invaded your house. Yeah.
And you said I could be here if I furnish electricity.
I did say you could be in your house. You're right. Yeah, that's right.
Can I turn my amp on next show?
It's
Please.
For real?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Alright, well, this is part one.
Millie or vanilla.
We're going to do 3 parts. What are going to be the next 3? We'll pick 3 more songs. Did you say Millie Vanilli?
I said Millie or
Did you
Vanilli.
really?
You could be Millie or Vanilli if you want your amp. You play. It's
Girl, you know it's true.
So there will be no more parts of this series. And you heard it here first. We broke up. No, we're going to do 3 parts, like Chris said earlier, and we'll release them a little bit apart and kind of let everybody if they want to, hope they do, watch it and maybe kill some of the boredom since everybody's stuck at home a lot. And that's all I got.
Okay.
yeah, for real. Take care of each other and be good to each other and be well to each other. Is that what's it from? That's from
Bill and
the
Ted's
80s.
Excellent
Thank you,
Well,
Movie Master. Yeah,
um,
one of them.
Yeah.
Master.
So,
Thanks.
see you in part 2.
Bye, guys.
Peace out.